there's some points I disagree with him, and of course the audience can later ask him questions. My view is that having come from the Singapore ecosystem of bank support, in Singapore the banks take a development perspective. That means they understand your industry, your business model. I remember coming to Dubai 7 years ago, a group of bankers came to me, and I was shocked that they asked me, which industries should we go into? And these were multinational banks, and I was surprised. They should have a research department that tells them where is the different industries that are more bankable or this and that. I had to give them the information. So it was free consultancy. It shows you that although our banks have come of age, but they're still struggling to find the right mix of trying to find that the customer and develop that customer. Another example is that one of our SME 100 companies wanted to buy machinery from Europe, and they wanted to raise funds here through bank, and the bank said, sorry, we don't understand this machinery, the production and the asset values. We can't find you. And that company is now getting finance from a Belgian or a bank from Luxembourg. So it shows that there are so many opportunities that the banks can do here, but they are losing out. And I think just to carry on the discussion, bank is one thing. I would like to join the other aspect of the digital economy. Where does Dubai Digital or Dubai 5.0 or version 5.0 come in? Majid can tell us about his take about innovation, design, technology that will support the future of Dubai and a smart city. Majid.
Yeah, thank you. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. First of all, I think it's a very critical and very important subject that we are talking about, and yes, I would disagree with some points with Mr. Satya here next to me, but from a positive point of view, I think it's a positive approach towards it, especially in a sector such as ours, where digital economy is a economy that starts from very small levels and basically expands to your next Google or others. So it's very important that for us to reach to the expected monetized or the best scenario where businesses are, where they are flourishing, they have all the required checkpoints that banks need. It's very important for us to see the small guys, basically the person who's just coming up in the ranks, who's got an idea and who's starting the whole process. So from our end, I think there are so many different factors that play a major role in how businesses grow and how businesses will go to the next level. So for me, I think it's very important to talk about the first part of the equation. I think today banks are talking the second part of the equation, which is fair enough when each bank has its own policies. The other part of the issue here is that we have to define the word SME in the initial phase. Today we're talking SME and SMEs, and we're talking about 150 million and 500 million. And today, if I am a 500 million, I wouldn't want to be called an SME, to be frank. I would say I worked very hard to reach this 500 million. You don't call me an SME. You should call me a proper company where we have good business benefits. And number two, I think as industries evolve, it's very difficult for people to pinpoint expertise in these industries. Today we've got lots of disruptors in the business. So they come in, they disrupt the whole industry. If you take this disruptor at the initial stage to a bank, he will never understand it for one simple reason. It's something different, right? It's something out of the normal. It's something that no one is used to. So now we're talking about an industry that is disrupting now. Earlier it disrupts over 10 years. Now we're disrupting industries over a year. And the cycle within technology is getting shorter and shorter. So people are trying to build on these cycles. So it's very important for us to understand one thing. Banks are experts in finance. The entrepreneur is an expert in his business. So there has to be some kind of emerging here that could, one, teach the bank what the business is. And on the other hand, the entrepreneur is expert in a specific industry, but he's not expert in business finance or financing. So which he requires advice more than shutting off. So it will all depend. Number three, I think the technology business in general is a business that is not shouldn't be very risk averse. So people who are getting into this business have to have a good tolerance for risk. People who are risk averse are getting into the wrong business. They should buy a building, and hopefully it will make them the money they need over a longer period, but at least it is a more or less a guaranteed business model. So coming back to the whole idea, technology in general, and what we've seen over the last 2 years, is that there has been a great increase in the number of entrepreneurs from around the world. And we're not talking about UAE-based entrepreneurs or not, but people who came to the UAE with a technology idea who are starting their businesses. This has increased at least three times to what the numbers were 3 or 4 years ago. Now, the same challenge has been available for the last 3 years. These guys are still in the circle of financing, are still in the circle of getting their initial 60,000 or 30,000 or 40,000. They're still in the initial phase of getting basically to the next level. So this is something that we need to tackle, and it's very important that we address it as transparently as possible, so that it helps us in understanding what we want to do. So technology is a very important factor. It's a main pillar in the 2021 strategy. It's a main pillar in the Dubai strategy for an innovation strategy for this year. So it's a core factor in this country at least, which we need to actually tackle in many different ways.
Thank you, Majid. Just to add on, talking about disruptions, disruptive technologies, there was one startup who came to us to say that he wanted to start up a 3D printing company. And then the first thing that the government did was, there's no activity in the list of to register you as a 3D printing company, and what would you do? So we had to, it's like regulation on the go. I mean, these are new industries coming up, and the regulation is trying to keep up. So I think the plan, one of the inputs to the plan is that we must be ahead of the game by trying to say that if these are disruptive industries coming, how can the government provide the ecosystem to support it? That's one point. And second, I think Majid has a valid point about the starting first 3 years, crucial. The first 1,000 days of an entrepreneur, as I like to call, is always the part where he or she struggles to get to de-risk the business, get market share, market value, get customers, and that's where the bank is not so friendly. I think most banks here, you only come to them when you have 3-year track record, and they are losing out on these opportunities for the first 3 years. Thank you, Majid. Now we go on to the SME entrepreneur. Shabana has set up the nail spa, and she's going to franchise in the region. And I think she's a clear example of an entrepreneur who came to Dubai or started her business in 2002, learned through the ropes, and now is a very successful entrepreneur. You want to share your story about how you managed to navigate the Dubai ecosystem? Yeah.
Is this on?
Yeah.
Is it connected? Okay. So I came to Dubai, to the UAE 25 years ago. Started my business in 2002 with 10 employees, and we've grown to 400 today. We have branches in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, 13 branches spread over the 2 Emirates. And I'd like to just tell you how the journey has been. So Dubai offered to me a favorable environment as a first-time entrepreneur to establish and scale my business. I call it the Dubai dream. There's no barrier to success. I'd say just passion, innovation, and hard work, and you'll see success. I was able to very quickly establish my business, and generally the process of dealing with government organizations like DED and other labor ministries was quite efficient. Very little bureaucracy and red tape. The cost of setting up business was relatively low as well, I would say. On the availability of capital, I started by putting in my own personal finances. As was said earlier, that the concept of SMEs did not exist back in 2002, and banks, of course, had no strategy of lending to SMEs. I'd like to add that Dubai has a system that is fair to both the local population as well as expats, and allows all to succeed. In Dubai's early days, there were always concerns for expat business owners around the security of their assets and the risks associated with having a silent business partner or a sponsor that owns a majority stake in the company. However, the protection afforded to expats are strong, and the system seems to have worked well, for me at least. I've never had any issues. Going forward, these protections should be reinforced for new entrepreneurs and new budding entrepreneurs, and people should be encouraged further to set up in Dubai, perhaps without the need of such requirements. Dubai has one of the most dynamic and rapidly growing consumer markets in the world, and we have benefited from that as a business. On the areas that I would like to see improved, on the business support side, it would be great to see more support for SMEs going forward. When I started, I really had to figure things out through trial and error. Markets like the US and the UK are extremely supportive of risk-taking and entrepreneurship, with capital and support readily available for aspiring entrepreneurs. It would be great to see that kind of environment develop here with the establishment of incubators, SME investors, and mentorship networks. And it is happening, it is in the process, as these can be very important drivers of SME growth, which will be a critical driver of employment and economic prosperity in the UAE. I would like to suggest a type of Khalifa fund for homegrown expats. I call myself a homegrown expat. And for other people, and I know there's young people who are born and brought up here, went to school here, and they've been expats. And so perhaps a special category of, group of SMEs could be looked at under that umbrella. This would be a great boost for the SME sector, seeing that 40% of the UAE GDP comes from SMEs, and a large part of these are expats. Another thing on globalizing business, I'd like to see as a business owner the deregulation of, the cross-border transportation of goods, at least in the GCC, very much like in the EEC, in the European Economic Community, where if one wants to export or import across borders, then there should be one common sort of certification required, because that at the moment is a barrier to export and import across at least the GCC. One area that I think poses or could pose to be a big challenge for new entrepreneurs is the real estate for a business. For example, a business of our size to sustain itself and do it in alignment with the Dubai 2021 vision of the best place for any company to operate, I know, would need some support in the form of special rebates, just like the large retail conglomerates get in malls. I mean, this is just a thought put out because we are at a huge disadvantage or small SMEs, when they approach malls, they're up against very, very big competition in terms of vying for retail space. Another thing that I'd like to bring up is it might be useful, you know how every company has a trade license, maybe to have a special trade license, mention somewhere on the trade license that this is an SME, and have special fee considerations, special laws and rules, and deal with SMEs within the government differently, like in the economic department have a SME division that, for example, a company can just go and deal with them as opposed to going to the general sort of departments. The other thing that I would like to suggest on the regulation side is stronger regulations going forward to ensure that while Dubai continues to offer an environment that is conducive to entrepreneurship, consumers, and a community is protected, and the businesses here adhere to certain ethical, safety, and environmental standards. Example, laws relating to trademark, copyright, and one of the issues that faces us is, like having more regulations regarding freelancers operating, because they disturb the market, and more strict control of freelancers in the market. As far as labor issues are concerned, labor protections need to ensure that employees are treated fairly, but at the same time should not reward those who do not wish to work hard and contribute to society. Finally, the last thing I'd like to address is access to talent and education. For me, as a CEO of my company, it's been a challenge to locate top talent in Dubai. And we've always had to focus, and a lot of businesses like mine have had to look overseas and look abroad to source high-level talent. However, if you look at Dubai and the region are now home to some excellent academic institutions. And as a society, we should look to continue to aggressively invest in education and develop the local talent here and connect smart, young, energetic people with SMEs. So on that note, I'd like to say thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Shabana. Wise words from a seasoned entrepreneur. And I'd like to just add on the point that regulation is something on the go we need to continually review. And the fact that, she mentioned about talent is key to many of the SMEs to move forward. Shabana is in the beauty fashion industry, and that is a very big industry emerging moving forward. She was just telling me this morning that we don't have enough statistics on the beauty industry in Dubai. So as the new director of development in DED, one of the key challenges I'm going to do is to collate and curate and survey more data on different industries, including the beauty industry, the plastic surgery industry in Dubai is huge. So I think wait for that. Okay, finally, I'd just like to ask Sean to talk us through the role of Google as a multinational company to see how his team is working to help make Dubai a more digitalized economy through his SMB tools, as well as the toolkit that he has. Sean.
Thank you, Alexander. Good morning, everyone. So I like to think of Google as the largest startup in the world, even though it's considered a multinational company by most. And Google makes it its mission to actually support the vision and strategic initiatives of countries through what it does best. Right? And what Google does best and what its mission is to organize the world's information and make it useful and accessible to everyone, right? So when we launch initiatives in any country or in the UAE in particular, we pay close attention to what the country vision is and what the strategic initiatives are. And we try to align our mission or the rollout of our mission to that of the country. And let me give you a few examples of that. So if we look at the 6 pillars of the 2021 vision, a few of them are related around culture, right, and society. Some of the initiatives that we've rolled out have had to do with, for example, digitizing the National Archive of the UAE so that the documents that were signed on the unification of this country can be available to everyone, everywhere over the internet, right? That was a project that was launched recently. Other projects that are launched in the grander scheme of a country's vision, such as the UAE, have to do with society and infrastructure. Again, with the intent of organizing information and making it useful and accessible, we've launched things like Google Maps and Street View here in Dubai, making it the first city actually in the Middle East and North Africa to have this. And one of the key pillars that we're discussing about today is about the economic impact that SMEs can have in enabling a country's vision, and we play a very active role there as well, or we like to believe that we do. And I'd like to actually highlight what activities we do when it comes to enabling SMBs. And again, we focus on what we do best, which is the internet, right? A few statistics about the internet when it comes to G20 countries. The internet and businesses that take full advantage of the internet contributes 21% of GDP growth in G20 countries, right? And contributes 4% of the total GDP. So it's become a sizable sector of any economy when it comes to the developed countries. Yet, in this part of the world, although consumers are very active online, we all have a smartphone and a tablet and a laptop. The population is extremely young, 50% are below the age of 35, and so we like to consider them digital first. They go to their smartphones and their tablets before they go to any other kind of media. The SMEs in this part of the world are yet to take full advantage of what the internet can do for their business.